What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my channel. I haven't been on this channel doing article reading in a little while. Happy to be back. So I'm hoping to make it a regular thing as well, like I used to. Today, I have an article from Matt John, story by Matt John on MSN Sports. And it says, quote, he doesn't have any loyalty to the NBA, he being Luka Doncic. Analyst links Luka Doncic to possible Saudi Arabia-based rival league. Okay. Well, before I get into this, let's talk about what we know about Luka so far. Well, we know he is a Slovenian, native Slovenian. He played for the Slovenian national team, took them all the way to the Final Four in the Olympics, which is pretty remarkable if you really think about it, considering there's not that many players from Slovenia that actually are in the higher, like Goran Dragic was great, and Luka obviously, and there's maybe a few others that I'm missing that if you reminded me I'd probably remember, but there's not that many I know, and the ones that I watched him in the Olympics play with, I didn't know 90% of them. I think I'd heard of a couple, but I just never heard of them, and I watch basketball a lot. You know, I even watch international basketball sometimes, so it's one of those things where just simply don't... He took a team that was not that quote-unquote talented or sought after all the way to the Final Four, and played really, really well, obviously, with them. So he's a guy who's like LeBron. He can carry a team. He has a lot of the same styles as LeBron. He's a cold-blooded shooter, though, especially when he gets hot. So Luka is 25, or no, he just turned 26 in February or something. And that's what we know about Luka, is that oh yes, and then when he went to Dallas, they were a bottoming out team. They were terrible. He won Rookie of the Year, averaging about 21, 8, or 5 and 6 or something like that. It was a very, very good stat line for a rookie, like insane stat line. He was so good, he could have even been better stat-wise, as his rookie stats could have been even better. But they had this guy. They had like, I don't even remember his name now. Smith? Yeah. No, that's not right. Anyway, they had a couple mid players, in my opinion, that were taking the ball from him. Eventually, they got rid of those players because he's Luka Doncic and he's amazing. And then his sophomore season, he comes out, he averages like 27, 7, and 7. So he just blew everyone out of the water. Everyone's like, is he going to take a step back? Is he going to kind of come back down to earth? No, he got even better. And then his third season, he got even better. He was like 29, 8, and 8. And then his fourth season, or I think his third season too, he actually made it to the second round of the NBA playoffs. Like, from the bottom to the second round of the NBA playoffs, 2 years, like 2.5 years is what he did. Luka did. It's amazing. Obviously, Jalen Brunson was also on that team. Major fumble by the Mavs. So they were a good combo together. They made it pretty far in the playoffs. And then the next year, they made it all the way to they beat the Clippers and made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. I could be off by a year, but I'm pretty sure they did, or Luka was hurt for a year. But either way, they made it to the Western Conference Finals. They faced the Warriors, who went on to win the title that year. I think it was 2022. And then last year, obviously we know, 2023 was the year that they missed the playoffs. That's right. And 2024, last year, Luka drags this team, who had traded for Kyrie Irving, who was having a resurgence in his career. Derek Lively, also a good player. He dragged that team all the way to the NBA Finals. All the way there. He dominated the playoffs. Absolutely dominated. It was like 32 something. It was like, he almost averaged a triple-double in the playoffs. He was absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, the Celtics won last year. Derek White and Jaylen Brown proved too much for Luka. Kyrie Irving didn't really show up in the finals. And a lot of players, it was overwhelming for the Mavericks, basically, long story short. Fast forward to the offseason, Luka gets hurt, I think, and then he plays for a while, but he re-injures himself or something of that nature, his calf. So he has a very tender calf injury. And the Mavericks basically say, you smoke too much hookah, you drink too much beer, you're too fat, they leak it to the media, and they try to justify to their fan base the worst trade in the history of the NBA. Full stop. Worst trade ever. Luka Doncic and Maxi Kleber for Anthony Davis and Christie, and then a first rounder, right? For Luka Doncic. So this would be the equivalent, keep in mind, to trading LeBron. So this is like Cleveland, rewind, 2000, let's say, 6 or 7, whenever he went to the finals against the Spurs. That would be like them saying, LeBron, you're just too fat. You didn't carry us hard enough, man. So we're going to trade you to the Knicks or something. Like, that would be kind of the same thing as what happened here. So Rob Pelinka is like, what? You want to trade for Anthony Davis? Because, like, Nico Harrison, the GM of the Mavericks, reached out to Rob. Keep that in mind. Crazy. Anyway, long story short, Luka got absolutely hosed by the Mavericks. He lost $100 million in the deal. $100 million. And a lot of people close to him, there was a report out right after he got traded that said, he might not even stay in America. I did read that report, and I just thought it was, it's crazy. Why would he leave? And then JJ Redick asked him, he said, what do you think you have to prove? He said, well, I have to prove I'm the best in the world, and the NBA is the best league in the world. Keep that in mind when we talk about this. This is before he got traded, he said that. Now he got traded, he's thinking, what do I need to be here for? This is stupid. Now, Los Angeles Lakers, it's the number one franchise in the NBA. It's the biggest fan base, second most rings. Huge brand, right? So that's obviously why they want Luka, because Luka, they know he's a superstar. But that's what we know about Luka Doncic right now, is that he rose and he ascended into greatness, only for him to be underappreciated and underpaid, and then shipped off to LA. Very unfortunate for Luka. So I'll read this story by Matt John, then I will hear your thoughts in the comments. So he doesn't have any loyalty to the NBA. Analyst thinks Luka Doncic to possible Saudi Arabian based rival league. And keep that in mind. Remember, Live Golf? Well, what's the PGA anymore? They had to fold and become become a merged product, because Live Golf came in. They're from Saudi Arabia or the Middle East, and they are rich and they pay the golfers more, and maybe they'll pay Luka more. Maybe he'll make up his money on that with them. So it says, Matt John writes, the Los Angeles Lakers made the heist of the century, true, when they acquired Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks. However, just because they got a 25-year-old superstar doesn't necessarily mean he'll stay long-term. That's also true. He might just go to another team. It would sound ridiculous to insinuate that Doncic would leave them for another NBA team. No, it doesn't. However, there isn't a fear of Luka leaving the Lakers for another NBA team. Yes, there is for the Nuggets. But leaving the NBA, period, more specifically, that he might leave for a Saudi Arabian team. And that is something I heard. So, Bill Simmons explains why Saudi Arabia could take Luka Doncic. No, that's right, isn't it? Yeah, it is. I'm just bad at spelling. Away from the Lakers. On the most recent episode of Bill Simmons' podcast, he explained why Saudi Arabia could potentially be a rival international team to Luka. Quote, they've got a poop load of money for this and a plan. And everything I've heard is that it's kind of real. I don't know if they have all that money yet, but they have enough. They have enough that could you form a 6-team league and convince 5, 6, 7 stars to basically jump when their contracts are up? That's what happened to golf. For the record, this has been a concern before. Back in 2008, international leagues used to poach players from the NBA when some were still in their prime. The most well-known player at that time was Josh Childress, but no international league has ever become a threat. That doesn't mean that it can't in due time. Simmons explained why specifically Doncic would be a candidate to leave. Could this be a golf league backed by Saudi Arabia, situation What does he care? He doesn't have any loyalty to the NBA. He just got traded. Could you build a league with like 5 or 7 Luka type guys? There's not that many. Hey Luka, here's $100 million. You're playing a 35-game season. You're going to be the face or one of the faces of this league. Like, I think it's for real. I think NBA owners are a little worried about it than I think has reported so far. Doncic's contract extends to 26-27 season, though he has a player option for the last year of his deal. There's no telling what Simmons there's no telling if what Simmons says becomes a reality, but it's something to brush. It's not something to brush aside. Usually, when Simmons talks about basketball, okay, he's just glazing. It's interesting. So, Saudi Arabian basketball. I mean, it's not crazy. It's absolutely not crazy. Because, like you said, they have a lot of money. Luka does not have loyalty to the NBA. There's no reason for him to have loyalty to the NBA. There really isn't. He's from a different country. This country hasn't been that good to him. He said the food isn't as good here. True. I'm sure that's true because our food is chock full of preservatives. Hopefully we fix that and other things. He says that he spends his time in Slovenia when he's in the off season. He plays for the Slovenian national team, which obviously he does. He can either play that for them or Spain. That's the only two teams he really could play for, and it would make sense. So, it's a very interesting article. It's a very interesting article. I don't think we gave that much information. He kind of just copy and pasted what Bill Simmons said, but the idea that Bill Simmons is floating is not that crazy in my opinion, because Luka Doncic is a superstar and he should be treated like a superstar. And I think it's great that he's at the Lakers, and I think that if Dallas were to continue to treat him poorly, or they would have traded him to some crappy team or something like that, some bad brand, like, I don't know, I can't even think, the Pelicans or something. No offense, Pelicans fans, but like if you were to trade him to some nothing team without a place where he could be truly given star power, I think that would be worse. So I think that the Lakers, at the very minimum, are worried about this. But I would say if I'm Jeannie Buss or Rob Pelinka, I'm more worried. This is what I would say. I'm more worried about the Nuggets than I am Saudi Arabia. I am. Because the potential to play with a friend who's also in his prime, like Jokic, two guys whose offensive skill really isn't matched by anyone. Like, if we're being honest. Like, it's really not matched by anyone. They've reached heights offensively that we've really never seen before. I think that's fair to say. I mean, especially Jokic. Luka obviously is sensational, right? But he's more of a Kobe versus like a Jokic's Shaq. Obviously, Jokic doesn't play like Shaq. He plays like nothing we've ever seen before. Maybe Arvydas Sabonis on steroids or whatever you want to say. But the whole point is, if I'm the Lakers, I'm not necessarily concerned about this because I will pay him as much money as he can handle. Plus, LA can give him as much star power as he can handle, I would think. And I don't know if Saudi Arabia can do that. Maybe it can. Maybe I'm ignorant to this, right? Like, I don't know. Live It makes more sense for the PGA because the PGA is just like some charity fund where they like are trying to. It's like a non-profit where all the people pocket money. It's silly. Like, there's a lot of, and then the players are like, well, I want more money. And Saudi Arabia's like, we have money. And they're like, okay, well, I'm going to go to where the money is. And that's the funny thing. Not everyone even left the PGA. There's a lot of golfers, great golfers, that never left. But they eventually merged because they lost so many of the younger golfers and the golfers in their prime that they're just like, crap, well, we better just merge and do what we can. The NBA, maybe they want to do the same thing. Maybe they say, oh, Saudi Arabia, you have money, you want superstars over there? Maybe we have maybe we have an international NBA. Maybe we have a INBA or something, or an IBA or something. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. But my opinion, let me know what you think down in the comments below, but my opinion is if I am the Lakers, I am much more worried about losing Luka Doncic to the Denver Nuggets than I am losing him overseas. Let me know what you think. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, and have a wonderful rest of your day.